everyone. This is once again Marcus with Gamga TV. Welcome. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming representatives from the Karnevalsgesellschaft Harmonie in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. And I will give them an opportunity to introduce themselves in just a second. Boy, more friends from the Great North. So I guess I'll pass it on. Please, Erica, go ahead and get started.
Hi, I am Erica Dumont. I am currently president of Kage Harmonie Regina and currently president of Western Canada Mardi Gras Association, as we are scheduled to host the next event, and currently reigning with the Dreigestern that we have right now, along with my co-princesses who are on today, Cheryl and Sheila. Take it away, girls.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Aldis. I'm currently Princess Cheryl I. We are also involved with the dance groups here. And I'm her sister, Sheila, if you can't tell. So I am involved with the dance groups as well, and the elf rod.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so very much. And of course, you know, since I'm in California, I always have to ask, what's the temperature right now where you guys are?
I took a peek earlier. It with the wind chill was like minus 21, but we're supposed to be warming up. So.
All right, good. Minus 21. That's Celsius, right? So that's roughly
yes.
that's in the single digits, probably around, or maybe actually partially negative single digits on the Fahrenheit scale. So that's cold. All right. Well, I'm glad I'm in California. So all right. Well, then, you know, you mentioned about yourselves, but if you would please introduce your Verein, and you mentioned how you contribute to your club, but how old is Karnevalsgesellschaft Harmonie Regina? Give us some history, please.
The Karnevalsgesellschaft Harmonie Regina, or what we refer to as KG Harmonie, was founded 1969-70 season, when a few couples, about six to eight couples, I can never remember the number, were sitting around and said, hey, we need to start a carnival group. And lo and behold, our first president, Bruno Ehrlich, who is no longer with us, was our first president, and we crowned our first princess, our prince and par, in 1970-71 season, and that was Adolf I and Lola I. And Adolf has since passed away, but Lola is still with us, but no longer involved with the group.
Okay, so yeah, that, you know, it's interesting that that's time of certainly in North America as well. A lot of clubs were founded right around that time for various different cultural backgrounds, and how interesting that it would fit right into that as well. Obviously, I heard a lot of German names in this. So is it primarily of German immigrants that your club was founded then, or were they able to get some of the locals involved as well?
Mostly German ancestry. A lot of German immigrants came. We're actually a subgroup of the Regina German Club, and that was founded in 1955. So we've had involvement with the German Club for about 15 years before we started Carnival. Previously, we've had groups like a Frauenverein with the German Club, a Volkstanzgruppe, Hunters Club, and I know, you know, a lot of these members of these other clubs are what formed our carnival group.
Oh, fun! Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, well, speaking of different groups, so does your Verein have? I know Cheryl and Sheila mentioned the dance group, so we know at least one performing group. But do you have a Prinzengarde, for example, or any musical groups? And if yes, how do they contribute to your carnival celebrations?
So we have dance group, as we call them. So we have a youth group and we have an adult group. In the past, we've had a musketeer or royal guard, so a men or boys group. What else have we had? Well, our senators do skits, so they do a little performing. In the past, as I think we only have a couple senators now, and we also don't have any musical group yet. But Erica's working on that. Her grandsons are interested in music.
Okay, so I hear they're working with the youth, which of course is a big part. So how old does a youth typically need to be to graduate into the adult dance group, or is that kind of a natural tradition or transition? How do you guys work that?
We usually do about an 18-year-old just so that they're more comfortable with an adult who's older.
Good.
So if we have enough children, we divide the groups, and we had 3 children's groups before with the different ages so that they feel comfortable with the group that they're involved with. They're not too young to be along with an 18-year-old or 17-year-old.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. With the different
now our groups are small, so we do a lot of combinations. Our 6-year-old will be dancing with the adults. We'll do a fun group dance together with adults and our youth group.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I don't think I've seen that. Have you guys ever done that at Gumga, for example?
No, we've never brought any of our youth to Gumga. It was all our adults that were there.
Gotcha. Okay. Because yeah, I don't think that would have been a fun thing to hear about. You know, and thinking about it, I don't think with all the carnivals events that I've been to, I don't think I've ever seen that combination. That would be rather unique. I'd love to see the adults having fun with the kids that way too. You could probably do a lot with that. So yeah, how cool.
Our groups are quite flexible that way, and also then it gives us the leeway. If we go somewhere, we can still go and perform with a number of people instead of just going with two youth dancers. The people get to see more of a variety that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you mentioned about going places, and I'll get back to some of the friendships with other clubs in a little while. But as you do that, are there certain things that you guys do every year, both within your club and with other clubs? Any special traditions that you'd like to share?
Erica?
Well, currently we plan of Carnival when we open and crown our Prince and Par or Dragestern. We open our crowning, or as some people call it, the proclamation. We do it as close to November 11th as possible, Friday or Saturday, depending on the people that are involved. We then close out the season with we are a very family oriented group, so we close out the season with family kinderfeshing, we call it, or kindermuskenball, or some type of a masquerade party, and you do a lot of stuff oriented with the kids to get the kids interested in the culture. We are what we call on Treaty 4 lands with the Métis Indigenous parties. So we have a big multicultural following within the city, and we try and promote through these multicultural activities the German traditions of Carnival, as well as since taking on the Volksdance group in the 90s, as part of our group, Bavarian programs as well. So
that keeps you busy year round, I can imagine.
What else to add? Yes, part of the programming we bring to the community, like we said, is traveling to seniors' homes, hospitals, different community events. We have hosted Dragon Boat festivals and performed there. We have gone to marathons and performed you know, as the runners run by. Football stadium here. We're the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they recently tore down the old stadium and built a new one. And we've had the opportunity to perform in both stadiums on field level. The Regina Multicultural Council here does a mosaic every year. We have taken part with that. That originated in 1967 and is still ongoing. It's I think their 54th year now. And if we don't have a pavilion at the German club, we have participated at other as guest performers. We have traveled within the province of Saskatchewan to Saskatoon, North Battleford, and as well as throughout Western Canada with the Western Canada Mardi Gras Association.
Wow, you guys probably have a busier schedule than any of the other clubs that I've had a chance to interview. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's all the dances are choreographed by Sheila and Cheryl. I have assisted with some input musically. Anything else, ladies?
Costuming. Yes, Erica left her costuming.
Yeah, you know that I'm glad you mentioned that, Erica, because oftentimes we forget the folks do a lot of that background work. So the choreography, the working with the various dancers. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into that. I remember growing up as a kid, my family was very involved in Carnival, and my mom did a lot of the choreography kind of work as well for dance groups. And the hours that she spent trying to put things together, you know, with the different music that she picked, that takes a lot. So much appreciated. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's cool. All right. Well, so you've given us an idea as to the different events that you do, which is plentiful. Like I said, I'm rather impressed. You also mentioned a Dreigestirn or a Prinzenpaar. So is that something that you've been able to do every year throughout the history of the club? Or is this something that is kind of an off and on? Because obviously there's a time commitment involved with that. How do you guys handle that?
I'll let Sheila and Cheryl answer that.
We have had a Dreigestirn or a Prinzenpaar every year except for two. What was the first year we didn't have one? 20th. The 20th. All the couples from the years before took part in the 20th anniversary of the club, and they were all represented. And then we did that exact same thing again for the 50th. All the Prinzenpaar couples that were available came out to the crowning that year and were represented, which was the last crowning we were able to hold before COVID.
That's cool. So obviously, you know, that's a great way to keep people who have participated and contributed involved. I think that's a real neat way to honor them as well. That's pretty sweet. Now I see a lot of red and white. Is that your club colors then? I see it in the flag. I see it in your outfits as well. Is that or is it a red and silver? What's the club colors?
Our colors are primarily red and white, accented with gold or black. Okay.
Nice there as well. So I mentioned earlier friendships. Are there any clubs that you guys like have a really regular exchange with, or that you see on a regular basis where you might visit one another? I don't know how far that is for you guys to travel from Regina to other parts of Canada, or maybe even into the US. But any clubs that you see a lot?
Well, as I said, we are members of the Western Canada Mardi Gras Association. Here again, it was founding members of our club, Edmonton Club, and Winnipeg Club that said, and I heard a rumor that they used to camp together at one point, and they said, well, let's just start the Western Canada Mardi Gras and visit each other. And Western Canada Mardi Gras was held annually up until, the year eludes me, I think about 10 or so years ago, where just we had enough groups join to do it annually, because there used to be groups in Victoria, Vancouver, Red Deer, Calgary that, would take their turns hosting. So by the time it was our turn again, for instance, we had time to recoup some cost and raise some money so that we could put on the 3-day event. Now that we're down to 3 groups, it takes a little longer to recoup costs, and we decided to go every second year. And 2 years ago, we were in Edmonton. This is we were supposed to be having breakfast to say goodbye to everybody today. This was when we had scheduled to do it until COVID, yes. And, but we are working on possibly resurrecting it for next year, and if not, we may have to pass it on to the next host, which would be Winnipeg. There's a lot of discussion going on with Edmonton and Winnipeg, and with our health organizations to determine if and when we can start having functions like the gala again. So yeah, we are sad, we are disappointed, but we know there's hope around the corner, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, I heard that that Edmonton event was lots of fun. So yeah, I almost made it to that one. My wife and I were otherwise occupied, but I have relatives on Vancouver Island, so I actually do make it to Canada with some regularity. And I'd love to go out all the way to Saskatchewan and to Manitoba at some point in time as well. So for sure. Well, keep us informed for sure about the upcoming dates. If the Southerners from south of the border for you guys are also invited, I'm sure it'll be a fun thing to participate in. Well, so as we get to the close, then. Any especially funny or poignant moments that your members might recall from years past? As I mentioned to some of the other groups, what happens at the GAMGA Gala stays at the GAMGA Gala, I guess, to an extent, right, in Vegas. But any funny moments where you kind of go, when you sit around over a good glass of wine or a good glass of beer and say, you remember that was pretty funny. Anything come to mind?
I don't know if it's funny, but we did have Prince Winfred. Remember Erica? For his crowning, he hired a horse and carriage. I believe it was kind of a Clydesdale horse and a carriage that his princess and himself came into the hall on. It was almost too big for our little hall.
Yes, I remember that. Yes. Picture the dance floor at GAMGA with a horse and carriage being pulled through the hall.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. And how did the horses do? How did the dance floor do? And how did the people do?
Well, this was back in, I'm thinking 1985. I'm thinking they were Prince and Princess. The club is still standing right now, unfortunately closed due to COVID. We can pick up lunches there and suppers right now. But the clubhouse is still standing. The floor is quite sturdy. We have thinking back to what other functions, I mean, when you have carnival over the years and you're bouncing with those kicking routines on those floors, they've actually got some good spring in it. Sheila and Cheryl are still dancing with the Rotafunken, is what our adult group is called, and they can attest to that floor space.
It's a lot bigger when there's nobody in it.
Yeah, that's both good and bad right now, isn't it? Yeah. But we do know that will come back. Oh, obviously, you know, to imagine a stagecoach again on a space like that, that's a pretty good one. That's a good moment. But we're just trying to get people back in, right, at this point in time, right?
Yes, yes. And some of the memories are Regina being centrally located to Edmonton, Winnipeg. We would load buses. Back in the 70s, when we were still a fairly large group, and we would take 2 buses. And I know the dancers were on one bus and the parents were on the other bus. And it was like a race at times. And yeah, there were some interesting moments on the buses. And like I said, now we are family oriented. We have started taking our youth groups with us to Western Canada Mardi Gras, and I have 3rd generation dancers in the youth group right now. My daughters danced in the past. One just recently retired here the last 2 years. But both my granddaughters are dancing right now. They're 12 and 10, and are looking forward to when they can do it again. So.
Well, that's neat. Yeah, I mean, of course, if they see their parents do it, and they obviously, you know, would enjoy that. That's great. I mean, at the end of the day, as I you know, like to keep saying, it's all about the fun together, right? I mean, you do, and that's really where Carnival in all kind of different shapes and forms. People, I think, are just happy to have fun with one another and to have that social side as well. Which I guess you mentioned the bus rides, and forgive me for not being all that familiar with the geography. But how long are the bus rides to Edmonton and to Winnipeg, respectively, from Regina?
They are roughly 8 to 10 hours because the bus driver does have to do the stops and checks along the way. And we've had some interesting stops along the border too, crossing over, running into McDonald's to grab a snack, or Tim Hortons, or, you know, just the kids always want to do something. And it's nice having the bus in the host cities. For instance, Edmonton is famous for their West Edmonton driver was able to shuttle Western Canada Mardi Gras participants over to the mall so that they could spend a day shopping. You know, Winnipeg, they went, I think they went on a tour of the city. They have the area called the Forks, and did some shopping there as well. And I know when they come to Regina, we will see what we can do to entertain the participants with the local sites in Regina. We are considered the home of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Training Academy here, the RCMP, world famous. So, you know, if you do come to Western Canada Mardi Gras in Regina, you're welcome to visit that museum. Very historic, very, very interesting. And Regina is also in the Guinness World Book of Records with the longest bridge over the shortest amount of water. So I don't think anybody's beat that record yet, but
okay, you're getting me interested at this point in time.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, let's hope then that that works out for the Western Canada Mardi Gras for you guys next year. And of course, we look forward to seeing you at Gamga again in 2022 as well. Thank you guys so very, very much for sharing of yourself and of your verein. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this was the team from the Karnevalsgesellschaft Harmonie Regina. And just to finish off this segment, I'd like for you to please join me in a triple Gamga hello. Karnevalsgesellschaft Regina, hello. Gamga hello. Thank you guys so very, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, that was some more of our friends from the Great North. there are more segments yet to come, so stay tuned. This is Marcus for Gamga TV. We'll see you at the next one.
Wir haben uns in die Augen geschaut, wir haben uns nicht traut. Ich wollte mich von dir, denn ich hab's in mir. Wenn's einfach richtig losgeht wird, dann tanzt du nur mit mir. Fang endlich Musik an, damit ich mit dir schmusen kann. Tanzen alle Jahr, da kommt man näher zusammen. Fang endlich Musik an, damit ich mit dir schmusen kann. Es dauert viel zu lang, der Musikant reißt seine Zeit. Es war eine lange Nacht. Dann haben wir unser Bus dagegen und es haben alle gesehen. Und weil ich rumgefallen bin, hast du bis jetzt mal übt. Es ist nur so beim ersten Kuss, ein ist noch lang nicht Schluss. Fang endlich Musik an, damit ich mit dir schmusen kann. Und jetzt die Hände in Höhe, heute noch das Superschnee. Alter Schwede, da geht's ab, mach mal schnell einen Boxenstopp. Auf ihr durch, mein lieber Mann, Musik spielt den Anton an. Der Bartwurst tanzt in Tasche mit, ich glaub, ich hab einen Sommerhit. Ich spiele Sex auf meiner Welt, dann lasst uns gleich ein Maß bestellen. Immer Bier, 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 bis zum Abwinken, Abwinken. Und jetzt die Hände in Höhe, heute noch das Superschnee. Immer Bier, 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 bis zum Auswinken, Auswinken. Und wenn's nur Bier mehr hat, dann gehen wir wieder raus. Drecksen wird den Dreck so schwer, mach mal mal Pause, setz dich her, nimm ein bisschen von meiner Wurst. Wirst schon sehen, da bretzt du durch. Die Aussicht finde ich wirklich grausam, das die Berge von Tirol. Irgendwo ist so breit gefüllt, ich brauch ein Bild, das was mit kühl. Immer Bier, 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 bis zum Abwinken, Abwinken. Und jetzt die in den Höhe. Heute Nacht ist super Schnee. Immer Bier, 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 bis zum Auswinken, Auswinken. Und wenn's vor dir mehr haben, dann gehen wir wieder ran. Prost, ihr Säcke! Prost, ihr Säcke! Und jetzt die in Höhe, heute Nacht super Schnee. Immer Bier trinken, Bier trinken, bis zum Auswinken, Auswinken. Und wenn's vor dir mehr haben, dann gehen wir wieder ran.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy's feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they sing to me won't defeat me. They won't be long till happiness themselves to greet me. The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. Till happiness steps up to greet me. The raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me.
To celebrate the Oktoberfest. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, performing for you, it's the Roten Funke